Imports are a great tool in Odoo, but they can be extremely frustrating at times. An error like this can drive you up the wall, especially when you know full well that Booga Booga is actually a company. So how do we get around this? Well, there's actually a fairly easy trick to use. So we know in relational databases that every record has a unique ID. Instead of trying to import off of the name, we're going to use the ID because that specifically identifies which record we want to link to for our relational field. So we're going to go into the list view for the model that we're referring to. So related company inside of our contacts is actually referring to contacts as well. So what we want to do here is we want to come in, we want to export, so go to Actions, Export, and we only, at this point, want our name, okay, and we want our ID. And we're going to go ahead and export that. We now have a nice list of all of our contacts and the ID associated with them. Hopping back over to my import, we're going to add a sheet and we're going to call this related company lookup. Now we're going to hop back over to our export and we're going to do Control Shift End. That should give us everything that we want. Go ahead and copy it and we're going to bring it back over here and paste it in so we have a nice lookup table here. So breathe real quick. I know this may be a bit Excel intensive, but you're going to be very happy that you did this. Coming back over to our import sheet, we're going to look at related company and we're going to say, okay, I need related company. We're going to copy this, bring it over to a new column, and we're going to do a / and ID as our import here. A quick thing that you'll want to change just to make your life easier is you'll actually want to use database ID, not / ID. Database ID will make sure that you grab the correct ID. Otherwise, it'll assume this is the external ID, which it is not. So make sure and do database ID. Now we're going to do a nice little VLOOKUP. We're going to say equals VLOOKUP. And we're going to say our lookup value is Booga Booga. And we're going to go back over to our related company lookup. We're going to click this A1, Control Shift End again so we get everything here. Click F4 so that we make sure that no matter where we move this on the sheet, it'll still refer to that table array. And then we're going to say in this table, I want the second column here. So I want the ID. And we're going to say this needs to be an exact match. So we're going to put false and enter. Now we're going to go ahead and double click this little green box. That should bring it all the way down. And it's going to show us what the related company ID is for each of these companies. Now looking at this, I was clearly mistaken. Booga Booga is not actually in our system yet. This NA right here actually tells us that it can't find that value, this Booga Booga, in this first column of the data that we provided it. Now you may be starting to see why we do this, because it helps us check and see if things are there, but it also gives us an exact way to import relational fields. It's a nice trick. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to create Booga Booga real quick. That way we have it and I can import to it. So we're going to save that. And our ID up here is 73. I don't want to redo my export. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say Booga Booga and 73. And that actually is not going to work because our range doesn't go far enough. But now it will. So that's good. And we are all cleaned up here. So the last thing we're going to do before our import, just to make it easier for ourselves, is we're going to come up here and we're going to say reference related company. That way it doesn't automatically link this up and try and import it, because we want to import off of this related company ID. Now let's go ahead and save this, and we'll save it as something that makes sense rather than what we've got. So we're going to browse. And we're going to say contact import. Now we're finally ready to hop back into Odoo and import this guy. So we're going to come into our contacts and we're going to go right here to the cog, click import records, go to upload file, grab that contact import, give it a second to spin. And then we're going to look at this and say, okay, active is good, city, company, country, display name. Actually should have labeled that name to make my life a little bit easier. Then we're going to come down. Email is good. Is a company. That's all good. Job position, phone. Reference related company. We don't want to import. Remember, we're using our ID. Salesperson is good. And related company database ID is good. Now for the moment of truth. Let's see if this works. Go ahead and click import. And let's see if it works. And we see we have 3 records successfully imported. If we look for Andrew Law in here, we'll see that he actually is related to Booga Booga. We've got it all set up properly. Nice work. So there you go. You may have many relational fields in your data that you need to import. Checking that data and then making sure you're importing off the ID will make this much quicker. So now you know, go out, good luck, and get those imports working.